Hey guys, and welcome back. Thank you for joining us for another art video. I'm doing Marchant and I'm going to do a demonstration on quite an exciting little atmospheric watercolour today. For this demonstration we need a piece of paper, some paint. This is water-based paint, alright? So we've got, my palette consists of yellow ochre, lemon yellow, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, vermilion red, and a crimson red. So basically I got three primary colours. I've got two of each to vary it a bit, okay? So I haven't got any greens or browns in there because obviously I'll mix those out of that, right? I'm mixing on a plate, quite simple. We need a couple of brushes, pencil, and the main ingredient, water. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is with a pencil plan out a very light landscape. Put a little fence at the front here just to give it some depth. It's a seascape and I got a bit of a cliff there, okay? So it's a very simple little land stroke seascape on the go there. So this is just for the sky, wet in the top of the paper. And you get a little bit of blue. Just touch it in there and instantly you can see the disbursement of that on the actual paper. Can you see that? So you can move this around and get some very dramatic skies in this way. I'm going to add a little bit of red so we can have a little bit more atmosphere in there. I'm going to move that around so it's a really dramatic, interesting looking sky. You see that? And then a touch of yellow along there. Enjoy this process because the results can be very, very exciting. You see? Alright, I really like that. I'm happy with it. So I put it flat because obviously there's a lot of movement on paper and I want that to dry, okay? Otherwise, by holding it up all the time, I can totally ruin it. Alright? So I'm going to give it 5 minutes, leave it dry, and we'll go to the next stage. Nice cup of tea. So, 5 minutes is up. And nice and dry, we can carry on with the next stage, okay? A quick way of drying this would be use a hairdryer on it. It sometimes can move the paint around to the direction you don't want it to go in, so I've left that flat so it dries naturally. Next stage, we're going to do the cliffs in the background. So I've mixed up, during my 5-minute break, I mixed up some green from blue and yellow. Okay, two different types of greens, two different types of yellows from two different types of blues. I'm just going to drift it over the top on my scape here. So I'm putting that on quite dry at the moment. Alright, just like that. I'm going to highlight this with some bright yellow. For the rocks I need to introduce a different colour. So lamp black, titanium white, and we're going to mix up the grey. I'm bringing my brush downwards. I'm just using the tip of my brush in areas just to give some texture, but I'm following the contours of the cliff, so if the rocks are coming down I'm pulling my brush downwards. In our current condition, we are in lockdown, so this is just a little idea that you could do at home right now. Practice it, ready to go and create this outside at a later date. For the sea, I'm going to put a little wash on, so a little bit of water. Not going to do it all at once. I'm going to leave some white gaps. Okay, so dry gaps for where the actual waves will be. Colour wise, I'm going to use a bit of blue, a bit of green, get some movement in there, and hopefully, you know, it'll come out well. So it's a slightly different colour to the sky, even though the sea does reflect sky, as you probably know. I'll put a tiny bit of yellow out here on the horizon, so some beautiful light has just dropped onto the sea. And I'm also going to put a tiny dip of red in just to give it that reflection of the sky. Again, I'm getting movement on the paper because it's wet in areas. Alright, and I get quite excited about this sort of natural movement, organic look that the paintings can have. We do that continuously along the paper and end up with a sea. So be very organic with it, don't worry too much about it, and enjoy the process more than what you're painting. Alright? Okay, so it's dry, and what I'm doing now, I'm just adding tiny little bits of highlights of a pinky colour so the sky's reflected in the water. So tip of my brush and just pulling these into the foreground of the picture. Okay, now I'm going to focus on the sand. I'm going to mix a yellow ochre with some titanium white to get a nice crispy sand look. We can also add a little bit of red, so it gives it a pinky sand feel as well. So it's a sort of yellowy, pinky kind of ochre-y feel to the whole dynamic of the sand. Again, I'm adding a little bit of water because I like that fluidity of the painting itself. Okay, so this is being placed in between some of those pink lines. And the beauty of this is it feels like the water is coming in over the sand then, alright? Okay, see? Now the one thing I need to mention is that as long as it's aesthetically pleasing to you, so as long as it's visually pleasing, that's the main thing, okay? Because it's your work and you own it, alright? So have fun doing it and make sure that you are happy with the results. The next stage, we're going to do this foreground, okay? And again, we're going to add a little bit of water, and we're going to do this in greens, all right? Now the greens be good here because here we have some reds and pinks and greens, the opposite colour to red on the colour wheel. So therefore, it will make that green really stand out. I've been mixing up a few different colour greens for this. So experiment with the colours. So yellows and blues obviously make green. And if you want to make brown, you can have purple and green will make a brown. So using the tip of my brush and just flicking some grasses up like so, okay? Tiny bit of red, I'm going to just involve that in the green as well. Can you see that? Seem to have lost my yellow. 1 minute. Found my yellow, and I'm just adding a little bit to this dune area here. So it just bounces out into the foreground slightly. So the last thing I'm going to do is just put my fence in so that that will give it a really nice strong foreground. So this is a brown. I mixed this up with some green and some purple. So I'm just thickening up these posts, which is my rickety old fence. A couple of different, qualities of line in this fence. So I'm going to put it dark underneath as well. See? So it gives the whole thing a bit of texture. And there we go. Quite a fairly simple but very effective watercolour. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Last thing I do, sign it. David Marchant, demo to YouTube 2020. the subscribe button and hit that like button too. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Cheers guys. Laters.